A few days ago, I posted this video talking about why I dislike the current balancing in Rainbow Six Siege. And immediately after this video, Ubisoft conducted their next community checkpoint, where we got so many different answers to balancing and what they're going to be doing in the coming mid-season and next season, which has reassured me so much. Now, based on what they've said, there are some tweaks that need to happen with some stuff, and I'm going to give my opinion on that as well, but it was a bit more reassuring because, for example, we've known that some changes have been coming to DMRs, for example, but it didn't feel like they were focusing on the true issue where they've arisen from, which has mainly been the defending counterparts on that DMR side. Well, we know that some changes to Tubarão and Rini are coming in Season 3, and we'll get into that more in this video. So I want to truly focus on the balancing changes they talked about here, and what I'd also do to jump off of these as well. So let's begin with Dokkaebi, because they mentioned that some counters are coming to Dokkaebi. They didn't explicitly say like a nerf to her gadget, rather they are going to be improving some operators to allow them to counter her, notably being Tubarão and Mute, two counters which did exist to Dokkaebi prior to her remaster. So Tubarão, if you freeze yourself, she can't call you. That's currently how it is anyway, but if she's already calling you and then you're frozen by Tubarão, it will end the call. Same case with Mute. If you're standing in a mute jammer right now, Dokkaebi cannot call you. However, once the phone call's already off, you can't turn it off by walking into a mute jammer. They will be bringing that counter back, so if your phone is ringing, step into a mute jammer and you're all good. Honestly, don't know why they were removed as counters to begin with, but that is coming back. And I think this does lean into a bigger issue with Mute, however, because there are still some operators he doesn't counter in which he should. Firstly, Grim. Ubisoft updated Mute to make his jammers more of a signal jamming device rather than an EMP device. Now, this made sense. The jammers are signal jammers. They did act pretty much as just radius EMP devices before, so I understand the philosophy in wanting to actually make them signal jammers rather than EMPs. However, if we look at the cinematic of how Grim works, we know that what Grim does is his bees will track an enemy and relay this information to him wirelessly to his phone. There's an issue there. That's a communication. Why does Mute not counter that? I've still not seen a good reason as to why that isn't the case. He should still counter that. But I still think there's an overall issue there, regardless of the consistency issue. And that is that, okay, they looked at Mute and they said, all right, we're not going to make him an EMP device anymore. We're actually going to make it a wireless communication jammer. That's fine. But they didn't, give any alternative to that. They basically reworked the only EMP-based defender on defense and then just gave us no substitution. Our only substitution there is the bulletproof cameras, which is just not the same thing. So, okay, fair enough. I see that you want to make Mute a wireless communication jammer rather than just a radius EMP-based operator, but then you're going to have to give us an alternative at some point. Like, I would like to be able to counter him, Grim with EMPs. I would like to be able to use like an EMP device like old Mute on defense. And that's why we have such an issue with Intel now, is that they just removed that EMP aspect of Mute's gadget and made it just counter communication. So yes, he's good at countering drones, but he's terrible at countering Grim or, other operators as well. It's not that I didn't understand the change they did to Mute, I just don't think it was necessary, and I don't think it benefited the game. It genuinely didn't. So it's nice to see that come back for a counter to Dokkaebi here, because I think that's a very important thing, and I think we just have to put Mute back on the hierarchy of where he was before, or implement another, Intel EMP based defender, because right now it's just currently sucks on defense without it, in my opinion. Yeah, so another major thing they addressed are DMRs, and this is not just the DMRs on defense, but DMRs as a whole. However, they did specify that DMRs on defense will be getting a little bit of a different treatment. So to begin with, in Season 3, Rini and Tubarão's DMRs are going to be addressed. They haven't said what they're doing to them, however, all they said is that they're going to be addressing them. Then, in the background, as we continue with the game, they are currently working on adjusting all recoil for, well, all DMRs in the game. Not just the defenders' DMRs, but all of them. But I do like the fact that they have separated Rini and Tubarão from that change, because I feel like there is still just a bigger issue there other than the recoil pattern of Rini and Tubarão's DMRs. I think there's just a fundamental issue with having those weapons on defense. And it's, again, not that I'm against defenders being able to take long-range engagements, but you know, they're just too strong, and I just don't think they're enjoyable. I just think it's boring, and to me, that's just not what Siege is. You could give these weapons to any defender on the game, and you'd get the same results. I don't think it makes up their kit. I don't think it fully appreciates their gadgets, and I think it's simply just a crutch, hence why they are such a, you know, controversial thing, because, well, if you take away someone's crutch, they're going to get mad, but they are crutch weapons. So I am happy that they are actually addressing these separately from, you know, the overall DMRs in total. I have an opinion on what they should do to it. It's the same opinion I had with all the other ACOGs. They shouldn't have kept them. They should not have simply survived the ACOG purge. They're more oppressive than Doc was. I don't know why they kept them, and if I'm being totally honest, I don't know why they added DMRs on defense to begin with. I said all the way back at Operation Neon Dawn, when a Rooney was announced, that it was the dumbest thing they ever did was giving her a DMR. And wow, who'd have thought they made the same mistake with Tuberau? I don't know why they done it. I don't know why they did it again. And now we're kind of reaping the rewards of that. It's silly. They should never have been a defensive weapon anyway. And this problem was bound to happen at some point. So it was nice to hear them talk about them separately, because honestly, I don't think DMRs on the attack are as, you know, oppressive as the ones on defense. So I kind of just felt like, maybe we're missing the issue here. So that was nice to hear. Now, the next thing they talked about, which was, again, nice to hear, was Zofia. That they're actually going to be giving her a big buff in the mid-season. Now, we don't know exactly what that is. Many of us have been speculating, you know, could they bring Withstand back? That would be an insane thing. Do I think is, you know, would be broken? Probably not. But that is such a big part of her past, which unfortunately I don't think she's ever going to escape. Same with the whole Mozzie Super Shorty thing, and he got that back, and look how happy people were. So if Zofia Withstand came back mid-season, would I be against it? No. Do I think she needs it to be strong? No. But would it do good for, you know, player reception? Yeah. We also had an interesting concept in a comment earlier saying, like, what if they make her concussions, like, sticky? So it's sort of like Nomad. So if someone's in the room and you concuss them, yeah, it instantly goes off and concusses them. But if it doesn't, instead of it just being a dud and then exploding, it just sticks to the wall and then acts as sort of like an Elamine. That could be a cool thing as well. You wouldn't be able to toggle that since the input toggle is already used between concussion and impact. But yeah, not terrible. But it is nice to hear an operator like Zofia getting a buff as well, because she's definitely more important for the overall meta of the game, just due to the role she plays. So it's nice to see that, and especially with them tackling stuff like these other operators as well, it feels like we're balancing on both sides. And I'm glad they're not scared to nerf things, because I do think a Rooney and Tuberau need a nerf. And they also did mention the SMG-12. They didn't say much, but they are working on the SMG-12. What I would do, I honestly don't know. Make it a 3-burst weapon? I couldn't tell you what you could actually do with the SMG-12 to make it different. Probably just lower the mag size. I feel like his mag size is just way too strong for no reason. So we could maybe just like take away like 10 plus bullets from that. So, because, you know, I don't want it to be like impossible to win gunfights with it. But the issue with the SMG-12 right now is that you have so much magazine potential that you can take multiple gunfights without having to reload. And I do think there is a bit of an issue there for that being a secondary weapon, especially one with such a high fire rate in a, well, one-shot headshot game. Oh, and this one kind of flew under the radar, and honestly, I actually think I forgot to mention this in my video recapping this community checkpoint, but they did mention Zero. Like, they did say that something is going to... Well, they didn't say something was going to change. I'll reword this part, and I'm not editing that out. But they did say that they understand the issue with Zero. Like, on paper, and I agree with them here, Zero is a great operator. He's got, what, 6 Argus cameras, which can all destroy gadgets. He's got 2 in-pocket drones. He's got a weapon that just got buffed. He's got Gun 6. He's got hard breach charges. On paper, Zero is absolutely great. However, that's on paper. When you apply him to the meta, when you apply him to the game, he's mediocre. So I think they've started to understand that now, that, yeah, okay, Zero is good on paper, but he just isn't translating in game. So it's not like they're saying that they're reworking him or they're doing something, but I think it's nice to have that recognition that they're like, okay, yeah, we kind of get it. We get it. We see why there's frustration here. We see why he's maybe not that desirable to play. And they even mention his lack of stealth being an understandable issue with him. So could we see Silent Step come to Zero? I mean, I think if it comes to Nook, it should come to Zero. But yeah, Zero is just, it's nice to know that they know, you know what I mean? Like, I think we all agree on paper he is great, but I mean, how often do you actually want to play Zero in the game other than, oh cool, I'm playing Sam Fisher? So all that stuff actually has made me a lot more faithful in the balancing. It's not that I've lost faith, it's more it just kind of felt like we were stagnating. We were buffing Gridlock, we were buffing Scopos. And again, it's not to downplay those buffs, but we're just in a boring meta of Intel Ops on attack, Mute being overwhelmed, you've got just DMRs on defense being oppressive as shit. It just kind of just felt boring. It felt like we were trapped, and it didn't matter who we buffed. So it's nice to hear all these points get addressed and, you know, feel like I'm not as crazy as I am for making that video. And I'm not saying they made that video for me, but I'm just saying it was good timing. And yeah, it's good to hear a lot of that stuff. So has my faith been restored? Well, my faith was never not there. I like the balancing they've been doing. So it's not that I lost faith, it's more so, hey guys, I love what we're doing, can we just nudge it in this direction a little bit, because I feel like we're stuck in a bit of a cycle. So, great community checkpoint, just wanted to make this follow-up video for you guys who've seen that one as well, to be like, hey, like, they've said some stuff. So let me know your thoughts, drop a like if you did enjoy, sub if you're new, she'll catch you in the next one, have a great day.